Hi guys, welcome back to Shruti Karen. I know it's been a while since I've created a new video. So here's presenting you today a short little micro lesson for all the English Literature DSE students. I'm trying to create as much as literature videos as I can for all the literature students because I really want to try and help as many people as possible. So in today's micro lesson, we will be focusing on a specific poem, which is called Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. I believe it should be in the syllabus for most of the DSE literature students, and this is just a micro lesson, a very short lesson to try and go through the poem. Of course, I have done a lot of tutorials like throughout the last month, and I've just realized how a lot of students found this poem a bit difficult, so I thought if I create a video on this specifically, it might try and help lots of people. At the bottom over here, you'd be able to see my email and my Instagram handle as well, so if you have any questions, of course, you can feel free to drop a message, and I'll try my best to respond to you as quick as I can. So, for today's lesson, we will be looking at a series of things. So I want to mention that this poem has a lot of deeper insights and a lot of deep meaning inside, but I will try to divide this micro lesson into two parts, because even though it's a micro lesson, it's very detailed. Usually it takes a long time to understand a poem, but again, because this is a micro lesson, I will not touch through everything. I'm only going to be touching through the summary, the theme, and the symbols. So we will not be covering any poetic devices or line-by-line analysis, so that is only provided exclusively if you purchase my tutoring sessions. Now, the summary of this poem is, as you can see on the first stanza, they've mentioned, do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of light. So basically, the first stanza is trying to mention how you should not calmly and peacefully welcome death. So the elderly should passionately fight against death as their lives come to an end. So resist the oncoming darkness of your death. So it's very important that the first stanza is showing you a theme of actually light and darkness, which we will go through in the next slide as well. And then here you can see, though the wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. So you can see there's a bit of run-on lines over here, but I will not go into too much detail. So wise men here refers to smart people. So at their end is basically at the end of their lives. They know that the darkness is inevitable because they haven't yet said anything startling or revolutionary. So although they're wise, they feel like they haven't done a lot of contribution to the world. So they want to try and absolutely refuse to accept death immediately, basically. So good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a grey bay. Rage, rage against the dying of light. So this one is talking about good people. So every stanza is used here to indicate a particular group of people. Now in this particular stanza, we're trying to focus on the good men. So good men, they saw their last moments of their lives pass like a final wave. So they feel like their lives passed through very quickly without doing anything very unique, very surprising, and they feel like they haven't done sufficient enough for the world. So they want to try and contribute more because they think that maybe they could have done more smaller actions or maybe more specific things that would have made a difference to the world, and now they've realized how they haven't contributed so much into the world. So this is why they resist the oncoming darkness of their death. Now, the next paragraph talks about the wild men. So here we're talking about daring people who are very adventurous. Now, wild is not based, it's a very unique adjective to describe someone. It just shows that a person is very active, very adventurous, very daring. So they've like embraced life to the fullest. But then they've realized that the sun is leaving them behind because they sang the sun in flight. So the sun is in flight and the sun is leaving them behind. But again, they grieve on their way because at the end of the day, they realize that they've embraced life to the fullest and they actually haven't realized the small things in life. So they were too busy doing their adventures and they didn't realize the tiny little things in their lives because they were too busy doing the other big things, achieving the big things. So that's why now they want to refuse to accept death peacefully. Now the next paragraph is talking about the grave men. So here we're talking about serious people, basically people of an older age. So I'm going to try and shift my camera slightly. And we're going to go through the bottom part. So serious people about to die realized with sudden clarity that even those who have lost their sight can, like meteors, be full of light and darkness. So they resist the oncoming darkness of their deaths. Okay, so this is what we're trying to talk about. So Gravemen here is focusing more on like serious people. And then the last stanza, and you, Dad, are close to death as if on the peak of a mountain. Burden and gift me with your passionate emotions. So the last stanza here we can see a personal touch. So throughout the paragraph everything seems to be very general, very it seems very abstract. It seems like it's not directing to a specific person. But then in the last paragraph, the last stanza, which I didn't mention in here because there wasn't enough space. In the last stanza, if you have your poem in front of you, you can see that the poet is actually directing the poem to his father. So it seems that the father is the one who is about to die and he wants, or maybe has already died, so he wants his father to gift him with his passionate emotions so that he can tell the rest of the world to not peacefully welcome death and resist the oncoming darkness of their death. I really hope that you found this very helpful. I will be creating another separate video on the themes and symbols so that it's more easy to digest. I don't want to cramp everything to one lesson because I want you to take it one step at a time. So if you found this very helpful, do be sure to move on to the next part, which will talk about the themes and symbols. Until then, I'll see you in my next video.